Hey everybody, it's Thursday, August 9th. I am back, and with it being Thursday, that means it's time to take a look at some of the books that came out yesterday and talk about ones that sort of what I thought of them and which ones I thought, and we'll get to which one was my favorite as well. So let's start things out with Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, number 50. This is the end of Robert Venditti and Rafa Sandoval's run. I think that Robert Venditti has been writing Green Lantern for like 80 issues now, and I've collected every single issue of Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, and it's kind of interesting because Hal Jordan is the primary character. His name is in the title. But what I have really responded to it is the interplay between the four Earth-based Green Lanterns that star in the title. So there's Hal Jordan, there's Guy Gardner, there's Kyle Rayner, and there's John Stewart. And I think one of the places where the team has really excelled is showing where each of them brings something really unique to the Corps, and it does and uses the same power in a different way. So I've really enjoyed that. Also, one thing that's kind of cool is that obviously each of those characters has their own fans, but I really love how, from the character perspective, they all view each other as equals. They all view each other as friends. I would read a whole issue of the four of them just kind of sitting around a campfire hanging out. I love that there's no rivalry there. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk at all about Rafa Sandoval's art. I mean, he was great when the book started, but over the course of these issues, just as you can get a sense there, his artwork has just been phenomenal. The guy is great, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's coming up with him in the future. Next up, we'll take a look at Catwoman. Catwoman by Joelle Jones and Laura Allred. This book is fantastic. It's probably one of the best looking books on the stands right now. As I talked about on my first video, I wasn't necessarily wild about the direction that the Catwoman Batman engagement went in terms of how things went south. Spoiler, I guess. I wasn't sure that was the best footing to launch the book a book on for Catwoman. But one of the great things that Joelle's doing, both in art and in her writing, is she's using that. She's talking about where Catwoman is mentally, emotionally. It's not just getting swept under the rug, really similar to what Tom King is doing in the Batman title right now. It's got a very sort of noir feel to it. It's a little bit of a mystery, but it's very street level. It's sort of perfectly in Catwoman's wheelhouse. And again, I just want to mention the book is just gorgeous. I mean, so that just gives you a sense. There's like a 3 or 4 page fight scene that has no words, but you're able to follow along with it perfectly. It's just really solid, good storytelling. All right, moving on from that, I'm going to talk about another Robert Venditti book, Hawkman. Hawkman number 3. Very cool book. He and Brian Hitch are doing some great work on it. A lot of fun to read. I think they've really sort of cracked the code with Hawkman. They're giving him sort of a superhero meets Indiana Jones vibe, and I honestly think it would translate great to film or to TV. But I've just really been enjoying this book. Hawkman is sort of learning about his past, but it's really more about just sort of what kind of cool adventure can we get him into now. And I like that they're really finding a good balance between Hawkman, sort of the strong bruiser, tough guy, but then also that he's smart, that he uses his brain, that he's an archaeologist. So I think it's just a great mix. And you get to see him fight dinosaurs, T-Rexes. So I would definitely recommend picking this one up. Hawkman, it's really early in its run, so go ahead and grab the first 2 issues and just enjoy. All right, 2 more books left. My next one, it was really hard to pick my book of the week. The last book in the list just barely edged this one out, but definitely want to recommend Superman number 2 by the team of Brian Michael Bendis, Ivan Reyes, Joe Prado, Alex Sinclair. this team is firing on all cylinders. It is really remarkable how quickly Bendis has been able to capture the voice of Superman. When you read it, it doesn't matter what actor you really identify with, whether it's Reeve or Cavill or even Dean Cain. You just read it and you just say, that's Superman. The person that's talking right here is Superman. It's great. There's a lot of action. There's some really gorgeous artwork. But I think if I had to choose my favorite part of the book, it's the first few pages where Superman kind of talks about what it's like being him. He alludes to a conversation between him and Green Arrow where Green Arrow says, oh, it must be terrible to be you because you hear all this suffering. And you get into Clark's head a little bit. He talks about how he does hear that, but what he hears more often than not is people helping and people helping other people, sort of along the lines of the Mr. Rogers quote about look for the helpers. But I just found that really inspirational, and the artwork is just beautiful. So this team is off to a rock solid start. I would definitely recommend picking up their Superman so far. So my book of the week, though, as great as Superman was, I gotta give it up for the return of the Fantastic Four. I think there's a lot of fans like me that have been waiting a long time for the FF to make their big return, and we finally get it in this issue. One of the things that's great about it, Dan Slott, Sarah Pichelli, they're a fantastic team on the book, and they really understand the emotions of the Fantastic Four. They really get that they're a family. There's not too much that I can talk about in this book without spoiling it, but I will just say that the voices of all the characters just sound right. There's some big moments in it. There's some quiet moments in it. It kind of strikes the right balance. Plus, you get Johnny Storm singing. I mean, how great is that? So, would definitely recommend this one. And even though the main cover by Assad Ribic is fantastic, I had to go with this gorgeous Mike Wieringo cover. Mike Wieringo passed away, I think, about a decade ago, but is still my favorite Fantastic Four artist and one of my favorite comic book artists, period. The guy was just a master. So now we have a special guest. Hey, Kara. That's my pick of the week, Fantastic Four #1 by Dan Slott and Sarah Pichelli. And now Kara is going to show you which one was her favorite cover and why. So Kara, do you want to grab your favorite cover and talk about why? Yeah, come on over. You're okay.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Kara. So your favorite cover is Fantastic Four #1. And why is that, Kay?
Because I was really excited for them to come back.
You were really excited for them to come back. Do you like the artwork?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're excited to read this one with us, right? With me, right?
Because we do something every night that we do, like
Come on down.
that is like reading with my dad, and
Yeah.
my dad reads to me every night.
And so parents out there, I would definitely say that
It's kids appropriate.
This one is kids appropriate. So give it a try. I always
Yay!
Yay! When it comes to new comics,
Tomorrow night my dad's gonna read it to me.
when it comes to new comics,
my dad's wearing an X-Men shirt.
There you go. All right, thanks, Kara.
I just want.
Oh, thank you, buddy. Thanks a lot. I guess we'll close out the show together. But so my general rule of thumb is for parents with new comics, usually give it a read yourself so that you can kind of know what's going to happen in it. You won't get caught by surprise, and you can sort of plan accordingly when you're reading with your kids. So I want to thank everybody for watching videos so far. Take care. Have a great rest of the week and a fantastic weekend. And that'll do it for us.